Let me start with something uncomfortable. You don't end up with serious problems at home because you've made bad decisions. You end up with them because nothing looked wrong, until it was. The most expensive problems in houses don't announce themselves. They don't leak dramatically or collapse overnight. They sit there unnoticed, until fixing them costs real money. Today I want to walk you through 4 critical and dangerous problems I see again and again. The ones that people always tell me they wish they spotted earlier. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Lorenzo Centioni and I'm an Italian architect based in London and founder of Centioni Architects. This channel isn't about dream homes or perfect home interiors. It's about how houses actually perform in real life and how to avoid long-term regrets. Let's start with the first problem people panic about and often get wrong. Number 1. Dump that isn't what you think. One of the most common calls I get sounds like this. Hi Lorenzo, I think we've got an issue here with rising dump. There are dump marks low down on an external wall, usually behind a sofa, a wardrobe or a bed. Sometimes it is rising dump, but very often it isn't. What I see far more frequently is condensation being mistaken for something more serious. Here's what's actually happening. Warm, moist air inside the house hits a cold external wall. Furniture is pushed tight against it. Air can circulate, so moisture builds up quietly behind the furniture. You only see it once staining appears, and by then it looks serious. Rising dump behave quite differently. It comes up from the ground because the damp-proof course is missing, bridged or has failed. You usually see a consistent band near floor level, salts on the surface and plaster usually breaks down. And crucially, it doesn't improve if you move your furniture. Conversely, condensation often does. When I'm on site, I look at patterns, where the wall is, what's against it, and whether airflow changes anything. In my projects, I'm always trying to prevent damp from early on. I make sure DPC details are continuous and not bridged. I avoid impermeable plasters on external walls, and I never design built-in furniture hard against cold walls without ventilation gaps. Very often the house isn't failing. It's being used in a way it was never designed for. So if you've got any issues with what looks like rising damp or condensation, make sure you actually understand what it is, consult a professional like me, or even better if you go straight to someone that deals with rising damp, so you can make sure that they've got the experience necessary to identify correctly what the issue is. And please do not underestimate it. Number 2, overheating, the problem people don't see coming. Here's another one that people rarely plan for: overheating. Here's a classic example: a south or west facing room with large glazing. That could be, for example, a conservatory. It looks great on drawings, don't get me wrong, it helps sell the house as well. But by late spring, it becomes uncomfortable. By summer, it's barely usable in the afternoon. Blinds closed all day, windows open all night, fans running constantly. And people think they're doing something wrong. They aren't. Many homes were designed for a climate that no longer exists. Large windows without external shading, highly insulated envelopes with nowhere for heat to escape, layouts that don't allow air to move through the house. That combination is seriously trapping heat. Overheating isn't a lifestyle issue, and certainly is not about opening windows more. It's a design problem. In my projects, I address this from day one. Orientation, solar gain, real external shading, and layouts that allow proper cross ventilation. Once a house is built, overheating is one of the hardest things to fix properly. Fans and portable AC are coping mechanisms, not solutions. Number 3, heat loss, the house that never feels warm. If overheating is the summer problem, then heat loss is the winter one, and it's quite exhausting, I get it. You walk across the floor barefoot and it's cold. The heating's on, the radiators are hot, but the room never feels comfortable. So people like you start to blame themselves. Maybe we need to turn it up. Maybe this is just an old house. But let me tell you this, most of the time it isn't. The house is losing heat faster than it can hold it, through poorly insulated floors, cold external walls, gaps around windows, doors and junctions that were never detailed properly. The thing is that the heating system isn't really failing, it's compensating. What frustrates me most is seeing people spend money decorating rooms that never feel warm enough to enjoy. Comfort doesn't come from paint colors or cushions. It comes from surfaces that aren't cold to the touch. In my projects, I take a fabric-first approach. Insulation strategies that suit the right building, air tightness, and details that don't undo performance later. Once heat loss is controlled, everything changes. Rooms warm faster, heating runs less, and people stop feeling permanently uncomfortable. Number 4, a layout that only works for one life. This one is a quieter one, but nonetheless an important one. A house that works, but only for one version of your life. It worked when the kids were small, or before working from home, or when mobility wasn't really an issue. Then what happens is that life changes, but the house doesn't. Rooms are in the wrong place, circulation feels awkward, and some spaces sit empty while others are under pressure. People assume the problem is size. It isn't. I think what we're dealing with here is adaptability. In my projects, I design layouts that can change role over time. I focus on circulation, thresholds, and flexibility, not just open plan. The homes people regret the most aren't the small ones. They are the ones that can't evolve. I believe the key takeaway for this video is that most home problems don't actually show up as emergencies. They show up as poor sleep in summer, cold rooms in winter, spaces you quietly stop using. As I said before, these aren't lifestyle issues. They are bad design decisions catching up with you. And remember that decoration never fixes them. So let me know in the comments below which one of these issues do you recognize in your home. Is it just damp, overheating, or maybe a consistent heat loss? If someone you know is planning to buy a new house or renovating, or maybe even stay put for long term, send them this video. I think you'll do them a favor. As always, if you enjoy my content, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I post weekly, so until the next one, ciao.